Are we going spoiler free or spoiler?
Let's
Spoilers.
let's go for now. Let's be spoiler free.
By us saying she again, that's a spoiler. But I'm sure by now everyone knows.
No, नहीं ठीक है, it's okay. थोड़ा बहुत spoiler तो आएगा. Hey there, welcome to Bam Splat Boom, a podcast about all things comics and pop culture. So hey Abhijeet, how are you doing? What's up? How
Hey,
has 2021 been?
hey Krishna, all good, man. 2021 has been pretty much the same as 2020, just a little more going out, I guess. But I guess we just need to deduct these 2 years from our ledger sheets, don't we? These 2 years never existed.
Right,
But
right. We are locked up in
but
some
yeah,
lab somewhere, and
yeah,
like where
seriously.
experiment was conducted on us, fake vaccines were given.
Fake vaccines who then convert you into mutants. No, man, I really, I must, say that it was some massive campaign that the government did, reaching out to so many people. But at the same time, people being people, they kind of flouted the rules and whatnot. And look what we ended up with, more lockdowns in the middle. So I'm glad right now that thing is just kind of on its way out, and let's hope that there's normalcy in 2022 now that we are in it.
Yeah, man,
Let's see
I
how it
I
goes.
have missed I have missed going to cinemas in 2021
Mm-hmm.
because I have absolutely not stepped out, and I have looked on with jealousy as people kept posting updates on No Way Home and Matrix Resurrections, and I've seen none of it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, for me, Matrix, I was looking forward to Matrix 4 more than the Spider-Man movie. People are going to hate me for this and totally going to judge me. But then, hey, man, late 90s Matrix gave us sci-fi like no other movie could, back then. And the trilogy ended. We all didn't want a new Matrix movie to come out, but there it was. And since it's there, you need to catch it on the big screen. However, I stepped out of the theater a little lost, wondering what the hell did I just see? Was it good? Was it bad? I just wasn't able to get my head around it. In fact, I saw it twice in the cinema halls. On second watch, I kind of understood what was trying to be, what the message that was being sent out. So I kind of enjoyed Matrix. Spider-Man, of course, had its brilliant moments with all these. Of course, I don't know. Are we going spoiler free or
We let's
spoilers?
let's go for now. Let's be spoiler free because I have not seen No Way Home. I don't.
So let me not spoil anything for you. There you go, folks. We have a podcast running here with one person having seen the movie, the other one not. So it's going to be very, very tricky for me to kind of go over these points. But I'm sure you've seen the memes, Krishna. I'm sure you've seen the memes. I'm sure you've seen
I
the tweets.
Okay, so I cut myself off completely. I
Oh,
cut myself off completely, and I, in fact, very rarely even see trailers. Like
that
I want
is.
to be surprised. Although I give in to my impulses, I end up watching trailers, but not like on the day the trailer launches. I don't see it then. I
Oh
try to
wow, really?
control myself.
Wow, that is next level Zen. Yeah, I mean, for me, of course, I stay away from the spoiler posts. I come to know that it's a spoiler post. I don't. I mean, I just don't open my YouTube subscription base whatever that day. I probably sign out of things and just kind of even Twitter. When I'm kind of scrolling through, I know exactly the kind of tweets, the kind of thumbnails that might show. I just don't look at it. But trailers, no. I'm a sucker for trailers. I will always tune in the day it lands and the day it's out. No, but yeah, coming back to the point, yes, I did manage to watch quite a lot of movies. Actually, speaking, come to think of it, in 21, 22. More so, I think the frequency increased in 22 now, and it was a weird experience. I got to tell you this.
Hmm.
It felt surreal. It felt as though you're doing this for the first time, even though you've
Oh,
seen so many movies through the years. It kind of gave you a feeling that you are experiencing something for the first time ever. So that awe of being in a cinema hall in a tricky situation like COVID, semi-partial open ups or whatever was very weird, honestly speaking. And I think half the time I was actually telling myself, I'm in a theater post COVID. I mean, post the major lockdowns, and this is something new. So my mind took about a few minutes to compute that. It was very strange. I got to tell you that. And with the alternate seating, the new SOPs in place, I to be honest, the first 2 3 movies I saw, I think the first one in the lockdown 2020, 21, 22. I'm just kind of totaling it up. I saw Tenet. That was,
Okay.
I think, December 20. That
Hmm.
was right when they just had opened up cinema halls, and I said I can't miss this movie on the big screen. I watched Tenet.
Hmm.
We were six of us in the cinema hall, just six people, and far apart. So it was basically like everyone's safe that way because no one's going to be in each other's proximity. And then I saw Wonder Woman 84. I think
Mm-hmm.
after that we saw Godzilla versus Kong. That was a fun ride. That was a fun ride. And what followed that can't seem to remember. But then we also saw the Wheel of Time premiere, which happened at
Oh yeah,
PVR.
I saw
Yeah,
your Instagram post.
yeah.
I was
It
like, damn,
was,
like I have not seen this.
and of course, No Way Home and Matrix 4, which I saw twice in cinema hall. So yeah, that's quite a lot of viewing I did.
So I'm going to ask
And
you a question, Abhijit, which India wants to know. Janta janna chahti hai types. How did it feel like to pay for overpriced popcorn and momos, man?
you were back you were back to the normal times by just kind of shelling out that money and reminding yourself, oh yeah, this used to happen too. For a long time we were like, we're missing a cinema halls, but we're not missing the overpriced food. But I did end up buying some popcorn because I think I just wanted to relive that experience. It felt weird again. It felt that pinch felt like it was something new all over again. I'm like telling myself, 200 rupees for this? Yeah, well,
50
I've done this
50 रुपए
before,
का
but what the
water
heck?
bottle.
50 rupees water bottle, 150 rupees ka samosa. So I was like, chalo, some semblance of normalcy. But yeah, that lootmar is so there only. But honestly, I thought I'd give it a miss, but the smell of popcorn and the cinema hall was just too tempting. So I went for it.
No, man,
Guilty as
I'm
charged.
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy popcorn. Of course, I'm going to buy popcorn the first time I'm going to step in. There is just that nostalgia factor, right? You know what? I am missing airline food.
Oh,
I
wow.
want to fly and I want to have the rubber wali idli and along with the tasteless sambar. Uh, I want to have those things. And I want to have the overpriced sandwiches of airlines which beat
Yes.
multiplexes.
Yes.
But I'm
Honestly,
missing.
that also I did. I had like a couple of flights over the last 1 year, 4 flights, I think. And I found that food was not being served. They were just serving beverages. So I was like,
I know.
"ठीक है." Yeah. So yeah, I missed a jungly sandwich from Indigo flights,
How
chicken
do they do
jungly.
this? I don't think even Stan Lee can figure this out. How do they mix? Like, how do they get the white and the brown bread
Bravo.
like to mix? Like, what is this wizardry?
There was a character called Eclipso in DC Comics who had like a face which is half blue and half purple. So every time I see the sandwich, I'm reminded of Eclipso.
Thank God you didn't say Two Face.
No, I didn't. At least that was. I would say that if half of it was steamed and half of it was fried.
Like tandoori momos.
Yeah, but oh, don't even get me started on those. Why don't we leave things the way they are? Why do we always have to experiment? There's also something called Momo ice cream. Have you heard of that?
Yes, yes. I recently heard of it.
Yes.
I was suitably disgusted by it.
Yes. Honestly, I think that's the only response we can ever give it. There's also masala dosa ice cream. There's a momo ice cream, and I'm like, people are just going nuts. I mean, this is. I think the lockdowns have just pushed people over the edge a little too much, and I think this is a result of that.
But what you were telling me about Matrix Resurrections takes me back to the original Matrix movie. I had
Yes,
to watch it 3 times to get a hang of it, like to get a proper hang
I know what
of
you're saying.
what was happening. Like, broad level
Yeah,
pe, I'm not talking about the action, and I'm not talking about the plot. I'm talking about the
correct.
philosophy. What the
Yes,
hell are they talking about? And
that's right.
and what you're saying about resurrection seems to be something like that. It seems like it will take time to absorb what they are saying.
Absolutely, and this one was a little more difficult than the first. I'll tell you that. It looks a little less complicated because I think the first one was quite complex and very well. I mean, I can't compare any of these other sequels to Matrix with the original, of course. And I strongly felt it never needed the sequels in the first place. I think it was a one movie thing, but they came up with the Revolutions and, of course, Reloaded before that. But honestly, Revolutions was to me the weakest of the three. And if you see Resurrections, you probably will wonder if, for most part of it, if it's even a Matrix movie in the first place.
Mm.
It is that strange. It is a very strange movie. But
Mm.
having said that, I know exactly what they had in mind, keeping the entire Matrix philosophy in mind. Things have changed and how, and some callbacks, some play on nostalgia. But I know what you mean when you say that you had to rewatch the first Matrix a couple of times. That's I remember watching it at Sterling here in Mumbai. I think we were in our class 11 that time, or 12, 11 or 12, and I'd gone with my friend to watch it, and we were just blown away by the concept that you might not be aware that this is a virtual reality you're living in. And shortly after that, we even saw a movie called Truman Show, which
Ah.
also talks about surveillance and a fake reality you're living in. I said, man, this is for teenagers. I think it's the biggest question mark that they might have on you. That is this even real? So,
I was
but
spooked
Matrix,
after watching Truman Show. I thought that
yeah,
I was in a Truman Show kind of
yes, because I
situation.
think they play on that, right? The me versus them always been a question. No? So why me and all that? But clearly, that's the me is chosen to be a character in a TV show, and that's so weird. And I think it's a brilliantly made movie. Although not sci-fi like Matrix, it still makes you question existence. But
Mm.
coming back to Matrix, I think 99, of course, not too much internet. Of course, I did not have a computer at home. There was no way we could access the net like what we do today. But for us to Google up about Matrix was also very difficult, like
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
do today, very difficult. So it took me a long time as well. And by the time I think the next two movies came out, that was when we actually used to read up a lot about philosophy of Matrix and understand it, read up the newspaper features on it. It was such a brilliant concept, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been like, just whenever something releases on either Prime or Disney Plus Hotstar, I think
Correct.
that's when I catch anything. Netflix, I'm not mentioning because Netflix doesn't none of these movies tend to get released on Netflix, at least right now, here in India.
Right. Right.
They
No,
tend
which
to
is
come a
why I
little
think
later.
Shang-Chi, correct, correct. No, which is why Shang-Chi and Eternals, I mean, I honestly haven't seen them yet. They are on Hotstar, but I haven't seen them yet. I didn't catch them in the movie halls, these movies. But even on Hotstar, I did not catch them yet. But I plan to very soon. Even Venom, didn't see the latest Venom movie, the sequel, didn't see that in the theater. So yeah, I did miss a few in the theaters.
Hmm.
But what I did catch, some were good, some were bad, some were like just for the enthusiasm of being in the theater. But I think the big struggle out there might be the single screens who probably are still struggling with their
Hmm.
models, how to go about things. So let's hope that things get better and the big releases come and do up a lot of, make up for all the damage that's been done.
What do you make of all the Marvel stuff. I think 2021 was the first full year, I think, where they released a lot of television series and films and all.
Yes.
I think let's just talk in this episode. Let's talk about the MCU and what's been happening there.
I think the use of streaming services, the technology that they're using it to build more stories, linking multiple movies together. So you don't need to have movies made to kind of connect the dots. You can also have long format serial like series, and what it helps you do is build characters better, build storylines better, plot lines better. I think that has helped all the TV series. I have enjoyed this phase of superhero TV series because we've never had this before. Not so much. We've had it, but not so much. I think for me, the enthusiasm started with with the Watchmen TV series, which happened in 2019, and shortly after, I think the Marvel one started.
After Endgame.
After Endgame, yes.
So the first one was WandaVision. That was followed by the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that
Is
released
it?
on
Acha.
January 15, 2021. The
Hmm.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was March 19th, 2021. And Loki came out
Okay.
in June after that. And Hawkeye was in November.
So my thoughts on WandaVision were pretty mixed. I mean, I like the concept. I like the weirdness of it. It starts off so strange that you actually wonder what's happening, and later, then of course, things are revealed, and then you come to know what is making it, whatever is happening in the storyline, what's causing it. Um, I did not like the way it ended. I'll be very honest.
Hated it.
I did not. Yeah, that's the better word.
They built it up. They built it up so well, and they just couldn't. Suddenly, in the last episode, you're introducing the villain, and absolutely no build up to who the villain is, what is she up to, and all those things, right? So
yeah, by us saying she again, that's a spoiler, but I'm sure by now everyone knows.
maybe let's see if we can perhaps edit the bit out. I don't know. Let's see in the edit.
Let's keep it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like two comic fanboys talking about stuff. There's bound to be spoilers.
It's tough. It's tough to talk about all these things.
It's tough. But I do like the fact that they went there, because I think and the fact that she's officially called Scarlet Witch at the end.
I love that bit.
Which was again part. Yeah, absolutely. I think finally, like Marvel is saying now that we have all the paperwork done, and officially we can call our characters what they are because of the rights thing happened. Whatever happened, she's now officially Scarlet Witch. She's no longer you don't need to just call her Wanda, because you can't call her Scarlet Witch. That again, connecting to multiverse was great. And I like the fact that they link all this together. So by the time you're watching the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness, you'll probably know what to expect, because you're made to watch these things as well. And to me, that actually reminds me of how good story arcs in the past used to run, covering multiple comic titles. So, like, for example, Civil War, when the comic series was happening, the story arc was happening, it covered multiple titles, right? The Spider-Man, Wolverine. So you had to collect them, you had to read them all. It's not like one particular periodical you're looking up. You also need to collect that month's Black Widow, that month's Hulk. Same thing with DC, when probably the epic Batman storyline of Nightfall happened. I mean, I got some single issues that I've collected, ranging from Detective Comics to Batman to Robin. There was an issue of Catwoman as well, I think, in it. There was a title, Shadow of the Bat. So you're collecting various comics to follow one story arc. I think it's the same thing which we are noticing in the TV plus movie universe. So when you're watching it all, you would have needed to catch up on something which has happened already on TV. Right. Not just on the big screens.
Right.
So they're getting you to explore more things. And with this, I think they get a chance to bring out some of their lesser known characters and build them better for the people to know, which in movies you get lesser time, I guess.
Yeah. So I noticed this in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although in a very small way, because I have been seeing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for quite some time now. When the Winter Soldier happened, right? In Winter Soldier, Hydra takes over, right? And You have Shield collapsing. So
Right.
they actually reference that in the TV series, and
Ah,
I really liked, the way it was brought in. So
sure.
I think you kind of see that happening in Agents of Shield, but yeah, this is some other level, right? I mean, what they're doing now
Absolutely.
is some other level of linking storylines together, and you can
Absolutely.
see the build up towards the multiverse, right? And you can begin guessing at, okay, who might be the pivotal characters when it comes to the films, when we start
Yes.
seeing these storylines come together.
Correct. And it's nice to see that they're getting the TV arcs also as part of canon into the movie. So it's not like when you're watching the movie, they're not going to address it at all. It's nice to see them address a few things from the TV series as well. And I think that matters. That way, your universe is built in a very linear way, although not linear in narrative sense, but everything is canonical. Everything is now part of the mythology of that character or the storyline. Same thing with Loki, right? Loki, I think, went where we never thought it would go, because that is a character that everyone loves to hate and hates to love. At the same time, the charisma of that character is so much that I think, did I say charisma? The charisma, the charisma of the character.
I
Yeah,
thought
childhood
let me interrupt
crushes.
you and make you say
No,
charisma.
no. No, no. My childhood crush, Karishma Kapoor, just kind of popped up in my mind, I think, for some strange reason, Sunday night. No, but yeah, I think that the charisma is so much of that character is that I think they really had to address the fans, right? Ki there's so much more we can do with this character, and there's so much of storyline and plot line that we can uncover and retell, or whatever you want to put it as. Although I was not fan of the other lead Loki. I don't know if we can get into spoilers here. Sylvie, let me just put it out there. Sylvie, I'm not a fan of that Sylvie twist, but at the same time, I like the chemistry and the. It just felt weird. I mean, it's like being there with you yourselves. Those who are listening, I'm just going into a little bit of spoiler territory without really going too much into it. So let me just put it that way. But I like the fact that I saw Owen Wilson back on screen again for a 90s guy. It was amazing to see one of my favorite comedy actors from then back on screen. And although he did not have too much to do, I think he just nailed it. But the main villain, I think that was the takeaway. The way they have brought him in, the way they have actually tied it up, and the wait for it, like, although the reveal was very exposition heavy, but at the same time, I'll give it to them. I mean, I think it was a very, very different way of villain reveal, and I think it's going to be fun to watch Kang on screen now.
So I think this is a very interesting thing about mythology, right? Loki's character, especially, he's a shapeshifter. From Norse mythology,
Yes.
we know this, that he's a
Mm-hmm.
shapeshifter. And as a result, what happens is that, he has the male and female elements in him. And you will have
Right.
references like this in various mythologies. So you have, for
Sure.
instance, we have Ardhanarishwar in Hindu mythology.
Yes.
You have characters like Shikandi who are male and female, uh, and
Yeah.
and I think, okay, I'm not going to go into the details of Loki and Sylvie, because let's not spoil that.
Yeah.
But I think they have brought that to the forefront. It also goes with the Marvel ethos, where they try
Mm-hmm.
to bring up topics, which the society, hasn't made up its mind about. And that's what they did with X-Men, back in the 60s and 70s, right?
Totally.
Uh,
Totally. Totally.
so so I think it is very interesting the way they have chosen to use that into the
Mm.
in the story. And of course, Kang is going to be very interesting. I
Yes.
just I just in fact watched a video, where they talk about, is Kang more powerful than Thanos? And that gave me an indication that Kang is going to be the supervillain for the coming phase. He has
That's
that
right.
power. He
That's
has
right.
And and the casual way in which they have introduced him, he comes across as such a harmless guy, right? What they've unleashed, like, at the end of that series, I'm very interested to see what the Kang or Kangs are going to
Correct,
do.
correct, correct. So I think that also links in very well with multiverse, because I think everything that is happening right now in the Marvel universe is multiverse. Spider-Man No Way Home, again, there's a lot of references to that. You might have seen a trailer already. I mean,
No,
by
no,
now
no
you must have
worries.
seen a trailer.
No, नहीं नहीं ठीक है, it's okay. थोड़ा बहुत spoiler तो आएगा. It's okay. Difficult
No,
to
no, no. If
discuss
you've
right
seen a
now.
trailer, you would have noticed some reference to multiverse there.
Hmm.
So I think everything they're doing is a good build up to the next crescendo, of their stories or movies that they're coming up with. And I think it's going to be fun to watch the Doctor Strange movie. I like Doctor Strange. I like the character. I like the movie. The movie that came
Love the
out.
actor.
Oh yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing. And right from his Sherlock movies to even the way he acted out Smog in Hobbit,
Yeah.
that was, I mean, if you've seen the YouTube videos of him doing the mocap, amazing, man. I mean, he is in the, what do you call it, under the skin of the dragon, literally. So, for that reason, even What If, the animated What If series that came out, again, I found some episodes to be absolutely disappointing. Some episodes were good. And strangely, the one I enjoyed the most was the zombie one, which had nothing to do with most of the things that we've seen or would expect from the Marvel universe. But I don't know. There were some episodes which were like meh. So there is an episode featuring Doctor Strange. It's again a weird. It reminds you of the Dormammu sequence from the movie. If you know what I'm saying, it's like a loop. It's like something keeps happening and then he's trying to stop it. I'm not going to get into that. But if you've seen the new Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer, they have referenced What If from it. So I'm saying even the animated series What If is being taken as some sort of a canonical point of storytelling for them, which is
That's
great.
interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very
It
interesting.
reminds me. It reminds me of the movie Animatrix which came out shortly after Reloaded. I think it was before Revolutions. What a movie! What an anthology of animated stories that was. They've used a couple of those things in the main movie. They have used a particular character. They've referenced a particular character in the movie who was in the Animatrix. So much so that in the Matrix, even the games are canon.
Okay.
And I'm not really a gamer, so I
Yeah.
do know that I'm missing out on a few plot points. But apparently, this is what you need to know before you watch Matrix 4, which I did not know, and I came to know later. And I should tell you this.
Okay.
And so, in the latest, whichever game Matrix ka game was out, apparently Morpheus is shot dead.
Okay. Okay.
That's all you need to know. So, canonically, he's dead apparently.
Okay. Okay.
But it's a Matrix universe, so you never know. So Animatrix, the games, they bring the storyline forward is pretty much what we are seeing in the What If usage of stories. And I think for that reason, these movies are something I really look forward to. Although I don't look forward to every Marvel movie like any Marvel fan would. I'm not really a Marvel fan. I'm more of a comics guy who will watch comic book movies. If the trailer is appealing and it's really connecting with what I've seen before, I will definitely go watch it first. But I somehow did not get the drive to watch Eternals. I did not find the drive in me to go and watch Shang-Chi. I don't know why. I like the trailers, but I somehow did not end up going to the theater. I've still not seen them on Hotstar.
In fact, ultimately, I think I would say Loki was what stood out for me the most. Simply because I love the actor. I love the humor. Just because of who Loki is, he's the god of mischief.
Right.
So let's just set Loki aside. I mean, if Loki was not part of this discussion, I really loved Hawkeye.
You told me that. In fact, yeah. What is it about that show? Tell me. I've not seen it.
So
what's the thing that works for that show?
So I think what works for that show the most, first of all, is the fact that, like, Hawkeye is like the Avenger you make fun of, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
guy, he's the weird dude. Obviously, he has no superpowers, and
Right.
the only thing he can do is shoot arrows. I mean, like, so it makes no sense, like, in that
Hmm.
very high-techy world and superpower
Hmm.
world, Hawkeye stands out like a sore thumb. And I think they've leaned into that fact. He is somebody who is generally not looked upon with the same kind of powers that others have. Although he's pretty badass as Ronin, and they refer to Ronin, that small
Okay.
phase in
Yeah.
Endgame, where he's
Yes.
killing people out. So they've referenced that.
Yes.
So that's a big part of the plot, and that whole relationship where he's the mentor to someone young who on whom he has made an impression. I mean, you wouldn't think Hawkeye would make an impression on anyone. Like, you wouldn't think that Hawkeye is someone's favorite Avenger, but he's made an impression on someone else,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
she also wants to be an archer, right?
Ah.
So that was one at a very kind of a philosophical core level is what I liked about it.
Sure.
Uh, and the humor. It's very unlike humor of Loki and Guardians of the Galaxy or Ragnarok, which is set in these fantastical locations and things like that,
Yeah.
right? Here, the humor
Yeah.
is coming more from, relationships and very human emotions. And the fact that
Yeah.
they've been able to do that with a series like that, and you wouldn't expect Hawkeye to be good, right? And I think
Sure.
I think he really rallies, and I think everyone loves a good underdog, and I think that's part of why I really loved it.
I'm sold. Yeah, I should be watching that soon. See, so many things are
Lots of
still pending
emotional
on my wish
moments. Lots
list.
of emotional moments.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and the second film is, okay. You didn't see the appeal in it. Well, I had not seen any trailer. I saw Eternals because I was bored
Okay.
one day and I was like, "Chalo, let's watch Eternals." But I think the Eternals, the way they have set it up, I think they are. It feels like they are going to play a big role in the coming
Okay.
story that is developing. To me, it seems like, Eternals was what Guardians of the Galaxy was for Phase 3 of the MCU.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Sure.
Again, not the humor, not the style. You can't replicate James Gunn like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the
Hmm.
fact that everything was happening on Earth when Guardians of the Galaxy dropped.
Right.
Everything, like, Iron Man was happening on Earth. Thor 1 happened on Earth. And, suddenly Guardians of the Galaxy dropped in, and this was happening in some other
Hmm.
world altogether, right?
Right.
The characters were, the lead Star Lord is from Earth, but everyone else is alien. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Eternals has that quality about it, although it takes place on Earth,
Hmm.
but the characters are all aliens. I like the story. The story is good. It's not earth shattering, it's not brilliant, but I can see the appeal there. And obviously at the very end they tease something, you
Yeah.
know
I heard the post credits on both these movies were amazing. Shang-Chi as well as Eternal. So.
Shang-Chi is funny. Yes, Shang-Chi is funny. Shang-Chi, I was not
Huh.
very, like, I think the problem was I waited too long to watch Shang-Chi, and by then the hype had built
Hmm.
up, and I think it didn't live up to the hype.
Okay.
That was my problem. I don't think so Shang-Chi is the problem. I think it was the fact that they hyped it up so much
Expectation.
that, oh my god, this is like the best, like,
Right.
film ever kind of thing. And I think that
Right.
that spoiled it for me. but
Hmm.
but again, he's going to play, it looks like, again, Shang-Chi is going to play a big role in the films to come.
In okay. Interesting. I need to watch these somehow. I need to fill in the void, which is between movies. But yeah, I think that happened with me before Endgame. There was one movie I had not seen, which was two movies I had not seen, which was Guardians 2 and Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the
Wow.
Wasp. So
Okay.
I finally managed to catch them before I saw the. I think before Infinity War or Endgame was it? I'm not sure. I think Endgame. उसके पहले I had to watch this. So two movies I had to watch before. So I think it's the same count right now. Shang-Chi and Eternals, along with of course Hawkeye. I will watch these. I have put them on my wish list. I've just not hit them yet. I'm watching a zombie series on Netflix right now called All of Us Are Dead, which is a
Oh yeah, yeah,
Korean
yeah.
zombie series.
Okay.
It it looks promising, and if it's zombies, I'm watching it. I love zombie movies. I just love the. It's the same. It's the same template everywhere. But honestly, there's something about each zombie movie. I was just going to say zombie, but I think I'm having too many of these charisma moments today. But but even the what if zombie episode, right? It was so much fun. Takes you back to the classic zombie apocalypse scenarios. So I'm
Ah,
watching that, but I think I'll catch up with these movies on Hotstar very soon.